where I'm at now, and yeah, I got this today, by the way. It's a film, a 35mm film, and it was damn expensive, and it was for my camera, my Voigtlander Videomatic, which is like an old 60s camera, which I'm going to try to start using. And it's so pretty, obviously, and I look forward to how to use the settings. And I know there's a timer here, and the big inner side wheel here, that's where you adjust how you should take during the day, if it's daytime, even bright, or if it's dark in the evening, you know. And then the zoom, obviously, but I need to learn this fully, so I'll probably try tomorrow. Anyways, for the sake of this video, I wanted to talk about being used. And that it was actually the first purpose of my intent to do this video, you know. Okay, we all been used, and we all know what it feels like. It feels bad when we know we're getting used, whether it's socially, work-wise. I mean, obviously it's socially all the time when we get used. But if it's work-wise, with friends, or it's relationship-wise, it happens in so many situations to all of us, and I think all of us, we got some kind of experience from it. And I wanted to make a little story time here, telling you guys what I've experienced. So yeah, okay, let me tell you my experience with being used. I mean, I've been used several times, and it taught me so much about myself, and I probably still get used in a sense, depend how the way you look at it, what perspective you see it through. But this is really going to be like, this is something that I probably never will forget. Okay, so but first, just let you know that before I get to this story, or this experience that I do have, is, yeah, I believe we need to go through these things when we are younger, and we are more sensitive in a way of, in a sense of we're trying to please people, and we want to appear good for others, especially if there's somebody authoritative, if you catch what I mean. And then we know we didn't really find ourselves maybe when we were younger, so we tried to please people, and there are these kind of bloodsuckers and wolves, or whatever you like to call them, out there to get something from you, and for their own advantage, and they don't care if they know it's wrong or whatever, because they know they can do this to you, and they think they can do it behind your back. But eventually you will face yourself, and you will understand that this is not right, and I can't take this anymore. But unfortunately, there are people that I also see everywhere. Like, I see how they're getting pushed around and used, even if they're still grown up adults, and that makes me feeling really bad. So okay, let me think, I was 18, yeah? I graduated in the summer, and then it took me like half a year. I didn't do any job or anything, and I got my first real kind of job, and it was also doing sales, actually. and it's one of the worst jobs that I've ever had, and I'm telling you that with pure honesty. Okay, so I had this supervisor. He was, I believe, he could have been. Let me think. He was definitely not 40. He would have been. Maybe he was late 20s, but I would say approximately 32. He had this kind of chubby face, and he was chubby with a little thin hair, and I believe he had no beard, and he had kind of a swollen face going thing. I mean, I'm not talking about something, there's something bad with him because of this. I was just trying to give you a picture of him. And he dressed, and I was working with this job during the time of around Christmas time into January, February and March, maybe April also. But anyway, it was cold. So he had this kind of coat, gray coat thing going, and suit pants, trousers, or some slick shoes, and he wore tie a lot of times, and he drove kind of like a rough bad car. I believe it was his parents' car, and yeah, I got to start to work with this guy, and he was a salesman, you know. Imagine a salesman, this kind of talking a lot, making jokes on other people's behalf. And I'm not saying that all sales people are like this, but he was a little bit this stereotypical salesperson. At least for me, he became this stereotypical salesperson that will remind me of when I think about a salesperson, I will think about him. And there's a lot of things that I can tell about this. This is interesting actually when I think back about it. So he would used to take us to different cities because we had to go to other cities to do work. And it was me and one other girl, I believe, and him. We did a lot of work together. And the girl was maybe 2 to 3 years older than me, I believe. And I don't have anything really to say about her. Let's get on with the story. But he anyway, one day, I remember one day he was kind of bragging about some girl that he got, and I knew what girl it was. Who would know? But I knew, and I am quite sure that this girl, she was working at McDonald's in the city where I come from. So it's kind of small town, but anyway, she's not fully, what should I say, maybe she had like autism or something that makes she can work there. And then we said that, and he became completely like so socially awkward, and he got so embarrassed that he did something to her because he was so bragging about it first, and then it was like, yeah, but she was not fully there, you know. Yeah, so, and then there was this time when, because he said it would be good if somebody else could drive someday to another city, and I had I said I had probably I could borrow my parents' car, and this car was very new at the time. Let me think, maybe not very new, but it was very fresh, and I still had this car for a few years by myself. Actually, I bought it later on, and then yeah, eventually I got to work with that car. My parents' car, I could borrow it. Very nice, of course. So pleased about that. And probably this guy saw some kind of opportunity there then. So fast forward a bit. I remember this was probably sometime in January. I was up late. I remember I was watching the Junior Ice Hockey World Cup, something like that. And I don't know what time it could have been, maybe 12 at night. Yeah, So I think I got a call or a text. It was a call I got, and it was this guy. Um, and I don't really remember his name, but it doesn't really matter. And what he was saying, yeah, he said like, Tom, it would be so nice. I don't remember exactly what he said, obviously, but something along the lines of that he wanted me to come to his place to pick him up because he had to. If he was like, I don't know, if he was thrown out, he had a big fight with his parents because he lived with his parents in this little small shit place, shithole, you know, a really boring place in the middle of nowhere. And I was really hesitating, and he said, I give you good money for it, I really give you good money for it. And yeah, I just woke my parents up in the middle of the night, and it was snowstorm outside, and they were just like, no way, you can't do it. And I just, yeah, I'm gonna do it, I have to, I really have to do it. And I don't know for what reason I really felt I had to do it. If it was either because I knew he was my supervisor, kind of like my boss, and I looked up to him because of that, or because that I was generally being nice. I was generally being kind to help somebody out because I consider him also a friend, you know. But here's the deal: you befriend people like you can't. Well, I will get to that later, actually. So anyway, I got to borrow my parents' car, and I drove off in the middle of the night. It was so difficult to drive. I remember it was dangerous. And the further away I got from home into this smaller road, because he really lived out in the nowhere in a small village, basically, very small town. I just remember I almost drove off the road because there was deer running just in front of me when I was driving. So and it was very windy, difficult to drive, and the snow was just coming towards the windshield all the time. But I got there safe, and I got to his place, and out he come, this guy, with a big smile on his face, with a wine bottle in his hand, and he jumps in, and he have a really good mood. He's in a really good mood, making jokes, and he is obviously, yeah, I would say drunk. And I felt kind of bad. I just felt really bad. And I said, so yeah, do you gonna pay me? And he said, yeah, and he gave me some money. It doesn't matter how much, but I remember. But okay, I can tell you this. I was like, is this it? Because he said good money, and this was actually only for going there and going home, basically. Okay, nothing for the service. Nothing for calling me in the middle of the night and telling me that he had a fight, had to go out. And anyway, we got back to the town where I live, because that's where he was going. And I stopped at one place, and there's standing a girl waiting. And this girl, yeah, they met up and they took off. So I was basically just acting taxi for this guy. So I went home and went to sleep. So yeah, there it is, that story. And obviously not nice. And I can tell you just a little inside, little backside story about this guy. Eventually it came out that he had tried to change sales and faked sales from us that we made, and wrote over some kind of number, identification number, and wrote his instead, and things like that. So he eventually got fired. And then I don't know, I think I never saw this guy again. But for a long time, I was actually going to say until now also as well, but that's no, I don't. But for a long time I wanted to meet this guy, and I wanted to smash his fucking face in. But that's nothing that I would do. But I would certainly go up to him and tell him that, do you remember me? And then just say that, yeah, that it was, that I guess you know what you did, that was really using somebody. But obviously I'm over it now, for sure, but for many years I knew really what it felt like being used. And there, like I said, there are certain levels of being used. There are many different ways and shapes and forms it can happen. So what can we get out of this? That's what I wanted to say earlier. Yeah, I think you need to go through these things to know actually to stand on yourself, you know. And experiences like these have taught me to, I kind of trust people on a shallow way, but on the in a deeper way, I take distance. And that's a good thing, because there are people that will do small tests, push small things on you, throw small things on you, like it can be comments and can be arguments, asking for things, and I feel these things a little bit on a daily basis. That doesn't matter if it's, yeah, like for example someone living very close to me, like here, basically I felt a little bit these things, and I'm not going to let people borrow money from me anymore. I mean, no big money, that's what I'm saying. And I'm not even talking about a lot. But I mean, if there would be a couple of dollars here and there, okay, not at all. I don't mind. It's like buying somebody a beer, or buying somebody a lunch sometime, or you know, these things that isn't really a big deal for me. But I will still ask for money back. But I think it's so rude for people to just try to wait out people to forget that they owe them something. And I am not perfect myself, because I know that I borrowed money for people that I have been not responsible to get back, and that is something that's really, really bad, and that is my problem that I work on. But I'm talking about these things that, you know, there are people that test you. They throw comments on you, and they try to see how far they can go with you, to basically play with you. And I can tell you that much, that I'm through with it. I am so glad where I am with myself, that I don't fucking care a lot about people anymore. And that sounds really bad, because the truth is I care so much about people, and I care about the right people that are like-minded, and I also care about people that have it rough. But I want people to acknowledge themselves and not victimize themselves, and not trying to use people because they are thinking that they deserve something that they're not deserving. And that's why I'm not going to, just because they can notice that I have something in me that is very, I think I want to use the word genuine there, and just very polite, and listen carefully to everybody, what everybody have to say. And then maybe some people, then if you are this kind of person also, like an INFP personality that is generally very nice, sweet, and appreciative of everybody, and don't want to make a harm, you will also attract some darker persons, some dark people to you, and they will try to manipulate you and shake you around until they can shake out some dollars and coins from you. Yeah, it can be really creepy. I'll tell you that, it can be so creepy. I have more experiences. I have more experience when it comes to financial aspects, and most times it ended out well, and sometimes maybe not a lot of times it ended out bad, you know. No, but yeah, there need to be some kind of a warning signal within you when you kind of feel these things. And I think the INFP, we generally have that. We have an intuition that says something that is really not, no, something is not right here. Okay, I have actually a recent experience here now in Lisbon when my parents were here that I can tell you in another video if you would like. This just happened a few weeks ago actually. But now I'm gonna go to bed, and I look forward to tomorrow, and I'll see you next time, guys. Okay, bye bye.